Oh,
Hello.
we're live already. Okay.
Yes. This
Flying by
is
the seat of our pants. All right.
yes. Flying by the seat of Air Force One behind you, Blake. That is a nice visual of the Ronald Reagan Library up in Simi Valley, California. You've been
Yeah.
up there, right?
I actually worked up there a lot in 2019. I had at least a dozen times that I have been in that building for a variety of different events. And if this event had taken place in 2019, yeah, I'd probably be working there. It'd be a cool event, but it's a great place. It's a landmark. Yeah, it's more than just a library. Yeah, it's kind of this sacred ground, and they host a ton of events up there. And I was fortunate to get that chance and to check it out myself. Not a bad event to work. Yeah, a little farther away, but they would typically they get a lot of people from LA to come work there when they needed extra help. And yeah, they usually pay you a couple extra hours. You need it because it was an hour drive, plus the California gas is so expensive. Brian, I don't know if you saw that Jimmy Butler clip, but even he was freaking out.
Jimmy Butler? No. What was Jimmy
You
Butler?
didn't see Jimmy Buckets in California with the talking about the gas pump? I'm shocked you missed that.
No, I haven't
over
seen
the Blaze, Dave Portnoy. I mean, that could have been everybody was talking about that.
What I saw
Where
from
was
Jimmy
Brian?
Buckets was Jimmy saying that there was collusion to get Damian Lillard into Giannis territory with the Milwaukee Bucks because they were convinced they were going to get Damian Lillard down in Miami. I saw him complaining that the league colluded to keep him away from winning a championship, and he was not happy about that. I didn't see anything about gas prices.
Okay, well, let's we're gonna have to run this clip. It's only 40 seconds. Let's see if I can get this. It's on my Twitter. Here we go.
Go ahead and get it. And by the way, I did just plug in the real microphone. I did not have that plugged in as of yet. Today's show, if you haven't been able to tell, this is very flying by the seat of our pants. Everything about this show is slightly different today. The time, just the fact that I got my first YouTube strike in 12 years today.
Really?
It's all first YouTube strike in 12 years.
12 strikes in the last 2 years.
You know, well, maybe you're the problem, Blake. Maybe you're the one bringing me down. Have you ever thought about that?
I'm the bad boy.
Yes, Blake the bad boy. Okay, here, let me double click the video you were trying to watch.
Oh, yeah. There we go.
Okay, now we have him on screen. This is Jimmy Buckets.
Yep, at the gas station in California.
This is high-rate fucking robbery.
Oh, of course.
I think that's everything we need to know.
Man.
Oh, man. This is Brian.
I'm trying to get some of this gas back. Hey, you think if I go in there and tell them that I put the wrong gas in here, they'll give me a refund? This is crazy. I'm going electric. Can y'all believe it costs $145 to fill up a Bugatti? Like, this is crazy, Avery. You feel me? You know, unheard of, man.
I love
Bugattis, man.
You know, Brian, you and I can relate. We've got matching Bugattis, and the struggle is real.
We've got Bugatti issues, but it just kind of shows that, you know, some people, even when they have resources, they're always going to be stingy. And that's why you keep your resources. Otherwise, you could be MC Hammer and blow through your loot, and then you got nothing.
So what's more surprising, Brian, that the gas was $145 for 19 gallons, or that Jimmy Butler was listening to a little Dolly Parton and Kenny Rogers there, The Islands in the Stream, which will probably get us a copyright strike too.
Oh, shit.
Why not?
That's right.
Because we were going to get 1 billion views on this, and now we won't get any money. It was our one opportunity out of 12 years of doing media. Oh, my goodness. YouTube is going to take it from us. Jimmy Buckets, maybe he'll donate. Maybe he'll help us out.
Everything about this Jimmy Buckets story is hilarious. The music choice, as you mentioned, yes, that was not what I expected. I didn't expect him to be whining about a few dollars of gas when he's driving a Bugatti. Are you kidding me? Everything about this story is perfect. I love everything about it. Thank you for bringing it to my attention, Blake.
Do you think he's got a house in LA? Because why does he have his Bugatti in California if he's he plays for Miami and he's from Houston? He's also got a house out west. I don't know about that, but you didn't rent one. I wouldn't think. You didn't drive there from Miami, so very strange. Another little thing to point out, but anyway,
he could have rented one.
Cool video.
That's what I would have guessed, that he rented one. By the way, I can't quite tell if we're streaming on X, Blake. I don't know. Are you able to see it on your side? Or wait, if I scroll down enough. It's weird. They buried it behind a whole bunch of other stories. It does look like we are broadcasting live, because X and Rumble are the only two account channels that are worth trying to build a foundation upon, as it seems. I have my concerns and question marks, my squiggles, my mysterious squiggles, as question marks are often called, about Elon Musk and his true intentions. So we'll see about that. But yes, X and Rumble are the places you need to follow the New American Media. So here's how it goes for today's episode of the Agree to Disagree show. You follow us on X at American_media_. We're the New American Media. We're at American_media_. And on Rumble, go to rumble.com/TheNewAmericanMedia. Subscribe. We have to put the building blocks of the foundation there. Also on Spotify, the Agree to Disagree show. Find us, subscribe on those places, because fuck YouTube and fuck Facebook. Fuck you all. Fuck you forever. I hate everything about you and your stupid bullshit censorship. Fuck you. I'm fucking done with it.
Yeah.
I try so hard to be civil, to just not use cuss words, but fucking Google, fucking YouTube, and fucking Facebook, fuck them all.
I agree, Brian. I can't stand Facebook. I spend very little time there, and YouTube has not been fair in a long time. They just blatantly do some shady stuff to us, and so they censored you. Also, it's nothing recent, right? Because if they can't get you for something recently you do, they go back, dig into your archive until they can find something, and then they give you a strike. It's amazing.
Yeah, so we're on the radar now, but it was the Hawaii episode. So I guess we need to do some extra investigation and get some updates into Hawaii, because maybe that wasn't about medical misinformation. By the way, who the fuck are they to tell me what's medical misinformation? By the way, visit CISA.gov/rumor control for any election information for countervailing views. Go to the WHO website, WHO.int, and CDC.gov and CDC.gov/vaccine, specifically regarding vaccine-related medical claims and political implications. This streams and it rolls across our stream the entire time. You have access to countervailing views, but who the fuck is YouTube to try to tell us what's accurate and what's dangerous? You know what's dangerous? Banning hydroxychloroquine, banning ivermectin, two things that have just now recently been approved as treatment for COVID-19. And if they wouldn't have got the emergency use authorization bullshit, because they only got it by saying there's literally nothing that could help with COVID-19 except for this thing that everybody that's important makes money off of. If they would have allowed treatments from doctors as they saw fit, lives could have been saved and families could still be intact. So yeah, fuck you. You don't have, you have no carte blanche over facts. I can't stand these motherfuckers. So there, here's my welcome back episode that I'm sure will keep us getting closer to being monetized on that bullshit backward censorship network of Alphabet, Google, YouTube. So yeah, if you're going to pull up a story that we're going to get to about the Mayo Clinic, let's talk about it, because it's current fucking events. It's literally what's happening on Earth, and we discuss it because a robust conversation about important matters is what I believe in. It's what the New American Media fucking stands for. But YouTube says, no, you're not allowed to discuss things. Why? Oh, I don't know. We know why. But I guess I'll probably stop on the we know why, because that'll get us another strike from these stupid fuckers. So let's talk about this. Blake. By the way, follow Blake. He's Twitter X at TV's Blake Walley, Walley, and you can follow him on his homepage of thenextlevelnews.com. I did see that Blake's YouTube channel has now been suspended. I could not stream to that today.
Again?
I sent you the screenshot on Telegram. You can see it there. Also, follow the New American Media on Telegram. We're at TNAM and TNAM Chat, the New American Media. So let's get into the news. We can get to the debates in just a moment.
What link did I put out? Yeah.
I have never unleashed such a profound and pointed string of obscenities like I have today from these people that just censored me. I cannot stand being silenced. It just irks me to no end. I fucking hate this shit. I fucking hate this shit.
Welcome to the club, Brian. Yes, but it's great to see you fired up here. Some passion. We
yeah,
need
a little
this.
bit of passion. So we'll get to this junior varsity debate. We'll cover that in a second. I have points on it. I probably have a monologue I'd like to give, a moment or three. And we will also talk about Katie Hobbs missing in action, ? I think it was hard to pick the biggest story of the day between Fauci's links to the CIA and the censorship of medical treatment options. But we're going to start with this one because I guess we ended up here accidentally. Go to WHO.int and CDC.gov and CDC.gov/vaccine for countervailing views for the fucking assholes at YouTube that think they know better than the rest of us.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, we got to call that out. But yeah, since that, I don't even know if it was in the stack or maybe it was. This is note that over the weekend, Mayo Clinic, they announced that hydroxychloroquine can be used as a potential treatment. But then 2 days later, after the Republicans or their conservative anybody or freedom patriotic people were saying, "Hey, look, the Mayo Clinic is supporting this," then they scrubbed it like 2 days later and say, "No, it's not a treatment for COVID." So they've already backtracked. It was that quickly. So it was on Sunday. Gateway Pundit reported Mayo Clinic quietly made an admission on their site that says hydroxychloroquine may be used to treat coronavirus in certain hospitalized patients. 48 hours later, they deleted their admission and replaced it with a statement that reads, hydroxychloroquine is not recommended as a treatment for coronavirus disease 2019. So the updated page goes on to state that it doesn't prevent infection with the virus that causes C19. And here is the before and the after. And looks like there was a lot of pushback from Zero Hedge. One day, scrubbed it, safe page. Again, they crumbled to the censorship and the big tech and the big pharma overlords. And yes, obeyed their corporate masters. And now they've won again. The deep state wins again, Brian. Aren't you happy?
Is there anything that ever else happens on this godforsaken planet? I'm really just feeling it today.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta get punched in the mouth to get fired up. So, congrats.
Yeah. So, what is the medical misinformation here? Since both things were reported by the same place, Blake. Right? Just like when Fauci said masks don't work when they were trying to steal them. And then they said, oh, they do work because they were trying to keep you muzzled and they literally figuratively did not want you communicating anything. And then when it comes out, it's like a mosquito flying through a chain link fence. The particle size of the smoke in the fires in Hawaii, for example. By the way, look into what happened in Hawaii because I'm guessing since YouTube flagged that video, there must be more to Hawaii. So just always research more what they try to tell you can't. But when they said, oh, the smoke particles, they're too small. They get right through your cloth mask. So they're not effective in these situations. And you're like, the virus is much more tiny than the smoke particles. So you've just admitted, CDC, that this shit has never worked. They're fucking lying to us, Blake. Every goddamn day. Every fucking day. Every important fucking issue.
Yeah, but imagine how our lives would be different if we weren't involved in this media stuff. If the media didn't lie all the time, what could we be doing? It would be different. It's amazing. This is like completely derailed our timelines. And yet we're still screaming about it over a decade later. And it sucks. And they're still holding us down to this day. Oh, let's give them another strike. They're going to dig into our archives because they can't get us because of the ticker. Which is a great idea. This is fabulous. It's worked till now because they really got heavy-handed in the last month or so with this because as they want to ramp up the fear for this next wave of COVID or what have you, and encourage everybody to get their fifth booster. I don't know what it is now or what other variants they're going to come out with, and the way they want to potentially lock us down has been theorized. So,
Blake, that Travis Kelce meme that you sent was unbelievable.
Do we have that? Yeah, well, let's pull that one up. But yeah, I'm shocked that he's sold out that badly. With all the money he's got, he's won 2 Super Bowls. He's basically got fuck you money, and he's gonna do. He's gonna sell out so he can get involved with. I guess he's with the Taylor Swift and the Pfizer. So,
well, remember, he's also doing Bud Light commercials recently.
And Bud Light. Oh, my God. Yeah.
And he also took a knee in 2017. So this guy is just, I don't even know what to say about him. But your meme showing the both sides of it saying he's definitely going to get his heart broken either way. Oh, my God. I didn't even know where I could post that because it is election season. They're going to try to shut me down on Facebook. They're going to try to shut me down on YouTube. I've been through this bullshit before. So it's like, all right, Rumble, X, Telegram, Signal, Spotify. Well, Spotify's no good either. Instagram.
Well, hey, X is good. So far, so good.
Which one?
Let's keep X rolling.
Working on X, trying to get the viewership, trying to get people to comment on X. All the action happens on the Restream chat and on the YouTube chat, but we'll work on it. Here it is. Which one is this?
This is Kelsey.
Either way. Oh, Taylor Swift is going to break his heart. Or
do you think they're actually in love, or is this all just for show? Do you think they're actually like romantically involved?
I mean, she's been doing the occult rituals during her sets now, and occult just means hidden. It doesn't always necessarily mean satanic or demonic. It's just, pagan doesn't mean evil per se, but she's definitely taken a darker turn. Fans at her concerts are reporting amnesia effects, that there is some sort of mass spell that's being cast. Taylor Swift is aggressively deep state Democrat, as is my understanding. So they're trying to deploy their most famous shills at this moment. And so she's glomming onto the NFL crowd, who really couldn't name a single song she sings. Blake, do you know a single song she sings? Try to say that 3 times fast. Go. Single song she sings. Say it 3 times fast.
A single song she sings. Yeah. Okay. That's good enough. No, actually, I cannot. I would recognize probably 1 or 2 at least. I know I've heard some. I've actually listened to a couple, but offhand, I don't know the titles of them. But that's not to say that not taking anything away from her. But it's not really my kind of music anyway.
Yeah, the first thing that came into my head was that Umbrella, Ella, and that's not her, that's Rihanna. Like, I know there's a few Taylor Swift songs that I probably recognize and I probably could
I'm going to look it up. Let's find out what her most popular...
Let's not give her any more attention, Blake. Let's move on from this story.
I'm just curious what her most popular song is. According to Spotify, it's Cruel Summer, there's Blank Space, Anti-Hero. But I couldn't tell you how any of them go. But I know I've heard at least a couple. I go, oh, okay, I've heard that. Big deal. But yeah, it's nothing special to me. But yeah, but I'm a grown man. This is not my type of music.
Yes, it ain't my bag.
But I do like an occasional song. I mean, there is an occasional, a catchy, whether it's a Katy Perry or the Billie Eilish or the Lady Gaga. There's kind of like, this is kind of catchy and fun, a few times, but it's really not my kind.
Well, this song is I Got a Blank Space, Baby, and I'll Write Your Name. It's about all of her exes. And so that's what this heartbreak, broken heart thing is mainly about here. But anyhow, enough about these two, but it is connecting her to the NFL audience that doesn't give a shit about her because it's not our demographic. We're not 13-year-old girls. And then it's connecting Travis Kelce to 13-year-old girls who don't give a shit about football. So, I mean, it is a crossover, but these are Democrat deep state shills, 100%, without a doubt, Travis Kelce and what's her face. So, okay, we talked about the Mayo Clinic. They put it up there as hydroxychloroquine being a COVID treatment, and then they took it away 2 days later. Did they ever explain why? Did they ever put a mention? Did they ever discuss?
No, they're clearly under pressure from, big pharma or other people or people connected to Fauci, I'm sure, the CIA, the deep state, a lot of big money interests that do not like that. And they can't give us an inch. They can't. We're gonna take a mile. They're afraid of that. They're afraid of like the MAGA Trump patriots or conservatives scoring a huge victory, because that would be massive after they pushed that giant scare on everybody and demonized both hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin as effective potential treatments. Again, you got to check the ticker on the bottom for the World Health Organization or the CDC, and make sure you take their experiments. I don't know, they're interesting mRNA technology, but there's a lot of things to work out over time and to make sure those things are safe and effective. Some people want to take that. That's people. It should be your choice. But I think we were skeptical from the beginning, called this out. And even the Mayo Clinic was admitting it, but then under pressure decided to crumble and fold to their corporate masters.
Yeah, Debster is saying, they called it horse paste.
Yeah,
and as soon as President Trump mentioned it, it was instantly public enemy number one.
Injecting bleach. Yep. Yeah, they said he was injecting bleach. Then they actually deliberately, made Joe Rogan look like he was green. They changed the color scheme to make him look sickly because he was saying how the ivermectin had cleared him up in like a couple of days. So it's amazing the way they went out of their way to smear these people with bleach and horse paste. So that was your MSM, while they've tried to force everybody to take an experimental jab.
Okay, well, let's get into the guy behind it. This is, we're talking about number one stories. There's so many things to discuss, but here, let's do a quick stinger and get into Fauci, because this motherfucker.
Yep.
I want this rat to face the music for what he's done. This rat, Fauci. Have you seen the picture of a depiction of Fauci as a rat? And I think the label says, 2020. Oh, is it from 2020?
Oh, I don't know which one you're speaking of, but yeah, I've seen the rat memes for a few years now.
Yeah, and Tony, it just says, I've never seen a better physical description than this, and it's Fauci is like a demonic rat. So Fauci's visit to the CIA headquarters, Blake, it's nothing to fret about. Would you agree or disagree with that?
I am going to disagree. That is very unusual. And this was, an interesting revelation we found out about recently. Let's see if I can pull up a story here. I think this is out of the Daily Caller. CIA brought Fauci in without a record of entry, so secretly, to influence the review of COVID-19 origins, according to a subcommittee. So the CIA brought in Fauci to its headquarters to help influence the agency's reviews of the pandemic, according to a letter sent Tuesday by the chairman of the House Select Committee on the Coronavirus Pandemic. Fauci was then director of the National Institute for Allergy and Infectious Diseases, brought into the HQ, but a record of his admittance and entry into the building during this time is not available, according to this letter from the Inspector General of the Department of Human Health Services. So, Ohio Representative Brad Wenstrup underscored concerns that the COVID-19 may have originated from a biolab in Wuhan, and whether public health organizations and Fauci himself played a role in covering that up. So, yes, we've long suspected that is what happened. This did not naturally evolve and just spontaneously come out of a wet market in Wuhan. It came out of the lab that was nearby that Fauci was funding gain-of-function research in.
Wouldn't that
and
be
all of that stuff?
Rich chocolatey goodness out of Hershey, Pennsylvania, Blake?
Right.
The Jon Stewart, one of the best things Jon Stewart has done maybe ever in his career. Just describing the absurdity of that. So to what end, Blake? We all know that this came from the bioweapons lab in Wuhan. Anybody that's paying attention knows it. What is the reason why they're trying to lie about it? And by the way, look at cisa.gov/rumor control and who.int and cdc.gov and cdc.gov/vaccine, because it's almost like every issue that's happened in the past 3 years is connected to the lies so that they could manipulate reality to gain more power and control and demonize and destroy anybody in their way at all costs. So every one of these fucking issues is connected to the other. So why are they lying about the origin? Because then it would make them look bad? What's wrong with reality? Like what is the upside to lying about the origin of this? It's because it directly implicates Fauci in the United States, because it directly implicates China, and China controls the Biden White House, so we can't have that. Like who? Why the fuck is the CIA meeting with Fauci to then bribe officials to change their minds on things, to be like, the science is settled. I wrote him a check. See, wrote him a check. I settled the science. Cost me about 15 mil. Don't worry, the residuals on my jab. I can buy a lot of cheese for my rat face.
Yeah, pretty much willing to sell out, and they didn't want. Yeah, exactly as you said. And they don't want this coming back on them, and it looks bad for us internationally if we found out that, or if the world knew that Fauci was funding gain of research in this lab, and that this was basically indirectly kind of his fault, and they were involved in the cover-up. That would be very, very bad for us. Much like, if we got busted, blowing up the Nord Stream pipelines and trying to blame it on Russia. So this would obviously cause an outcry throughout the world and put his administration under fire for what they're doing. This is criminal conspiracy at the highest levels and our highest paid federal worker. So, Mr. Fauci.
It's treason. It's mass murder. We're waiting for the genocide, the Nuremberg 2.0 trials for genocide. This is the most disgusting, evil act that I've seen. It was to overthrow a sitting president, to just ruin families that can never be rebuilt. Just destroying lives, destroying families, and just pushing this corrupt, bizarre, terrifying Orwellian lockdown to just try to get people used to being dominated by bad people. It's all in this story. Everything is this story. Like So what is the resolution here? I know you pulled up another one. So somebody in Ohio is like, well, this raises concerns. Okay, so what is next? They're going to do another inquiry, or are they just going to indict the guy? Is anybody just going to indict them? Is anyone in the inside of the CIA going to blow the fucking whistle and bring the creeps out? Or it's just going to be a lot of circular talk and nothing happening? Fauci sipping on a Mai Tai somewhere on your dollar, laughing at your dead family.
Right. Well, they look at us as, overpopulated. So that could be part of it. And he's just doing his job. And this is, there's a solution to cull the herd, perhaps. But we rolled part of this clip last week. I know we had issues with the internet, probably didn't run the whole thing. But I was curious because why was the CIA also at a pandemic simulation event in October 2019? I mean, you could really tie, Bill Gates and, Fauci and the CIA together trying to simulate this event 201 and what could potentially happen. So there is something alarming that we all need to face. Let's try to run this clip again from Ben Swan, and this is RFK Jr. Discussing this very thing. And of course, his CIA perhaps allegedly assassinated his uncle and maybe even his father, to blame it on Sirhan. But that's a story for another day. Let's roll.
Called Event 201, a pandemic simulation that...
Oh, of course not. Ryan, I'm going to try to send this to you.
Place in October 2019 in New York. What is the CIA doing in a pandemic simulation? They're not a public health agency. What they're talking about is using this pandemic as a pretext for clamping down totalitarian control. And the first thing they said is, we got limit free speech. We can't allow people to criticize government policies. We cannot allow people to talk about a lab leak. They're doing this in October of 2019, before anybody of us have ever heard of Wuhan.
I believe in the idea that we shouldn't be trying to control communication, but rather flood the zone in a sense with a trusted source. Things we want to do is
Trusted source.
trusted telecommunication companies to actually ensure that everybody...
Trusted source from telecommunication companies, YouTube, CIA, and Google is pretty much tied at the hip with the NSA, CIA. And we've got, and then of course they've embedded
alphabet agencies that wanted to protect America and Americans. Was that
CIA
ever a thing?
They shouldn't even be involved here in domestic issues, but they're everywhere, and they're meddling in these ways that we were warned about a long time ago from a great president, Eisenhower, who, by the way, has a great helicopter in the Reagan Museum. That was one of Eisenhower's. But side issue, here we go. Let's see if I can continue to run this.
Has access to the kind of communications that we're interested in providing.
Well, anyway, yes, we do know that the CIA and the Fauci is they're connected here. And
CIA has been conducting these simulations since 2000.
2000 and what? Oh, please just run. We only got a minute clip. They run fine until I get on the show, and then they stop.
I'm open to trying a new restream option. I tried to.
I don't know if it's restream. It's probably just my lousy internet, but
it could be both. Because I have great internet. I have a very fast computer. I have everything I need, but I can't put a fucking backdrop behind me. No idea why, but it just doesn't work. I think there is a restream problem that's worth looking into. I also was trying to stream on Rumble today, but there's not an option on Restream to stream on Rumble. But it says you can go live, but it's a service, but it won't let me do it on Restream.
It's a custom link. It's not, they don't have Rumble listed as a destination, but it's like a custom RTMP or something like that.
So is there a way to set it up so that it can restream?
Yeah, but you have to have a minimum certain number of subscribers on Rumble in order to stream there. It's not fully integrated yet, but
okay,
it's on its way. So hopefully soon.
Try the rest of this video here. Give it time to buffer.
All right. Yeah, it never buffers.
One, they're practicing how do we use the next pandemic to execute a coup d'etat against American democracy and against the Bill of Rights, and that is very, very worrying.
Of course.
Everything that they modeled, they did.
Well, I think that's pretty much it. There's only 5 seconds left.
Okay.
But yeah, it's curious. No, it's over.
So Fauci's visiting CIA headquarters, and there were several. What are we? Fucking hell.
Yeah, well, this is worried about the military-industrial complex and what would happen, and we're seeing it. And we also had, John F. Kennedy, allegedly saying he wanted to splinter the CIA into 1,000 pieces and have them scatter them to the winds. Yeah, it's the kind of stuff that they've gone rogue. This is the deep state fighting back, and they probably took out the president, and they're controlling it. And yes.
Then they run the Democrat Party and they run the rhinos. They run the Republican Party. They run both.
Yeah, well, they got Ronald Reagan got in, as we see, but then they put in George W. Bush, a creature of the CIA, who was probably running things, especially in the second term. So they had to control him, and they had to try to assassinate him, keep him under control. They didn't kill him, fortunately. But that was almost Bush right there, right after the assassination attempt. So, yeah, they control that. And Trump won again, so that kind of threw them off, but 4 more years. But now they're really trying to destroy him, too. They don't want him coming back.
And that's my point that I have to say about this junior varsity debate that we saw last night. But let's get to that in a second. I just want to cover this other interesting story, new developments. Here we go. Okay, debate coverage coming up in just a moment or 3. But Blake, do you agree or disagree that the sudden Arizona governor vacancy seems suspicious?
It's definitely suspicious, but I don't want to get too ahead of myself yet. But that was a huge breaking story late last night, was that Governor Katie Hobbs had vacated somehow, and then she had been replaced. Allegedly temporarily. A lot of people want to speculate that maybe this is her finally getting in trouble for alleged, election interference and fraud as the sitting Secretary of State trying to take the gubernatorial position there in Arizona. And she's been dismissed. But I've also heard that she's went to Taiwan all of a sudden, like a spontaneous trip. So I don't know what she's doing over there, or why the sitting governor of Arizona would just suddenly go to Taiwan. It's a strange story. So, but I haven't heard any new developments yet. I expected the Gateway Pundit to be full of articles blasting her and going in after the election stuff, but I haven't quite seen that. So I don't even know. I thought I had a story. Here we do. I do.
And by the way,
Brian, you might have something.
Well, I just while you pull that up, it's just saying here, have you ever wondered how Arizona magically turned blue? OAN breaks down how the Arizona Secretary of State, Katie Hobbs, accepted campaign funding from Soros and Taiwan, which is illegal, and had a direct hand in the fraud that occurred during the presidential election. So OAN just did a big story about this. I tweeted it out on our X account at American_media_. It says Arizona's in talks with Taiwan Semiconductor TSM on advanced packaging, which is crucial for the manufacturing of AI chips, and TSMC not announcing plans yet to do as part of their $40 billion chip factory, state governor Katie Hobbs said on Tuesday. Just kind of scrolling through trying to figure this out, because Katie Hobbs is the most how do you even say it? She's almost as unbelievable of a winner as Joe Biden. Almost as unbelievable. Not quite, because Joe Biden is literally unbelievable. By the way, visit CISA.gov/rumor control, because Google, YouTube, they think 81 million votes were totally legitimate. So that's your countervailing view. It doesn't pass the eye test or the Joe Biden sniff test, but don't believe your lying eyes or your lying ears or your lying nose. Kids.
Yeah.
So what do you have pulled up here with Katie Hobbs? Just what are the basic details that we know for sure? Because I was seeing that the person who's now in charge says, I was informed. Okay, well, who informed her? And how did they skip the next person in line? It's everything about it's weird. She's being accused of cartel infiltration, that she definitely, that the Arizona election was definitely seized. It was a coup. It's completely invalid. And court case after court case and trial after trial, they're trying to just get it reversed, and they're just kind of holding out. And you're going, how in the world did Arizona go blue? It just doesn't make sense. But anyway, back to this. What do we know, brass tacks?
Well, right. We know that Kari Lake was up by 11 points, was expected to win, very popular. And then a lot of shady stuff happened. And then somehow Katie Hobbs emerged victorious, even though there were a lot of alarming red flags that didn't make any sense. And they clearly manipulated something in Maricopa County, because a lot of people were having trouble using the machines and the ballot scanners. And they basically really sabotage things for the people that were actually showing up on election day and not checking all of the mail-in ballots. But anywho, what we've had recently is it's continuing to fight this behind the scenes. We don't covered it a lot in the last few weeks, but there is still a fight for that seat. It's not a done deal yet, so she could be removed for election interference as they dig into this and unravel all of the corruption there. But we have a weird development. Arizona's GOP, so a Republican treasurer, says she won't appoint a new agency heads as she steps in as acting governor. So acting like she's, kind of like temporary, it's a thing, or she went to Taiwan for a week. I don't know. But why would this even become an issue of, appointing new agency heads? That's a huge thing. Like if she's only going to be gone a week, why would you have to name, 13 new people for state agency directors? Why couldn't you let the existing infrastructure stay in place and just have, the lieutenant governor step in? So this is bizarre, but I'm not sure. I don't want to get my hopes up yet. But here we go. Arizona Treasurer Kimberly Lee has vowed not to appoint 13 nominees while temporarily serving as acting governor. In a statement, Ms. Yee, who is actually fourth in line in the governor's succession, said she'll be serving as acting governor from the evening of September 27th, which was last night, until mid-morning. That's today, on the 28th, while Katie Hobbs is out of state. She stressed that while she is pleased to step in this role, the governor will eventually be returning to the state. Yeah, that's weird. Why would she announce that? Like she's basically going to go to bed, right? Like, hey, I'm going to be governor temporarily. And then she's what? Kind of go to bed? And then the next morning, Katie Hobbs is back. Why would they need to go through all of that? They don't even. I don't even know why they would have to even announce all of this stuff. It's very strange. So, Brian, I can't remember a story like this before, where a governor is, went out of town and then had to let the treasurer, the number 4 person from another party, take over, like temporarily. A lot of things don't add up, but I'm not really sure what to make of it yet. And I'm just expecting her to come back and get an explanation later. So what do you think, Brian?
I pray. I pray that justice will be served in so many regards, Blake. I don't know what to make of this exactly. I know that, our video about Hawaii, is Hawaii under attack, just got censored. So it makes me want to investigate that topic more. I see Katie Hobbs disappearing for a little bit. It's really weird. It's so weird. Everything about this is weird. Where was her press release saying like, hey, here's what's going on? She's being accused, what I believe to be rightfully so, of treason, of staging a coup to overthrow the duly elected gubernatorial body of Arizona. I pray that we find out what's true. I wouldn't want somebody like Katie Hobbs to suffer if any of this was untrue. But this is on the heels of watching President Trump suffering all of these indictments on shit that's untrue every damn day. So I'm not saying eye for an eye. Well, you're going to be unfair to one person, we should be unfair to others. I'm not necessarily saying that. So what do I think? I don't know what I think. I think this is weird. I think it's weird as shit. What do I hope? I hope that she's been arrested. I hope that she's on her way out. I hope that this is enough. That the judges, the rulings, the powers that be, there's enough hardcore evidence that she's been rounded up, and that this is the part of the process where she is removed. She's indicted for treason, and she suffers the ultimate fate for treason. there is a severe penalty for people that want to see harm come to the United States, such as through open borders, such as through, allowing criminals back out on the streets to harm good people. All of these things are dereliction of duty, and it's treason.
Cozying up to the cartels. That's one of the big things. She's working with the Sinaloa cartel, keeping the border open for her own corruption so that she can be in power, so that she can feel powerful.
And we have a serious problem now with 4 to 10 million, 4 to 12 million, 6 million, 8 million, nobody knows, people that have just invaded America. And there's some states, some counties, some places that are trying to give them identification so that they can vote, so that they have a role in voting in our elections. Our elections. Non-resident invaders. Blake, it is like we are flashing danger, danger, danger with the bright lights. The sirens are whooping. We're in a World War III that hasn't been declared, and we have foreign and domestic enemies. The domestic enemies are probably the worst among them.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So,
people that are ruining their own country from within for their own personal enrichment. Yeah, it's pretty sickening.
And remember, Arizona was one of those suspicious as fuck states that at the same exact time, 6 states just said, woe is me. I think we need to pause. We need a temporary where we pause this election. Oh, it's so complicated. First time ever. Oh, I don't know. I don't know what voice I'm doing there, but it was like part baby, but part Asian baby. Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, like I was trying to do goo goo gaga talk, but I don't know. It came out a little weird. I think I blurred 3 impressions together, but Arizona was amongst the most heavily suspected to be corrupt states in the 2020 election. And then Kari Lake, one of the best candidates I've ever seen ever in my life. Way ahead, exactly what Arizona wants and what Arizona needs, somehow loses to this. Well, she's a cartoon character. She's got the lefty glasses. She has the SJW persona. She is out of central casting. She's a more Caucasian version of AOC. She's dumb as a box of rocks. She wears her glasses. Really just female in glasses and dumb as a box of rocks. I guess that's all it takes. But it's been literally unbelievable that this person defeated Kari Lake. And so everything about the Arizona situation, it smells rotten. Something's rotten in Arizona. Something's rotten in Denmark. Something's rotten in Tempe. I don't know, pick your phrase, but I don't know what's going to happen here. My first instinct was like, well, is she getting like a boob job or something? You have to temporarily be out you're sedated for a couple hours because don't forget, or a wisdom tooth extraction. It didn't have to be a boob job. But by like some medical procedure where you're put under anesthesia. So you are literally incapable, pretty much like Fetterman or Feinstein or McConnell. I think McConnell's faking something. I don't trust McConnell at all. But remember, Kamala Harris has behind her title or like her legacy, she will always be the first female president of the United States. If you don't count Barack Obama, but she was the first female president of the United States because she was president when Joe Biden, he had a procedure done. And so she was temporarily sworn in with those powers.
Right. So imagine if that happened, except Speaker McCarthy took over or, whoever number 4 is on the other party. So that is what's just crazy about this. And as MJ Sedona, this is in her backyard. She stepped down as governor, replaced her with the number 4, a Republican. That should mean the election was not valid with Democrats. Yeah, why isn't the vice governor? What is it? Not the vice governor. I said it earlier and I already forgot. Lieutenant governor, right? Is that the number 2?
Yeah, sounds right.
So why isn't that person running or in charge? So it's something very strange. So we'll keep an eye on this. But yeah, if she should be removed for whatever reason, it should be no surprise. Everything was shady about that election. It's been really bad in Maricopa for years.
So I don't know if she has stepped down, as Jocelyn is saying.
Yeah, we don't know. We can't confirm that, but she's not in power. Is she in Taiwan? Is she getting a boob job, as Brian says, or whatever, getting some kind of cosmetic surgery? I don't know.
Yeah, call it a nose job.
Right.
I don't want to think about Katie Hobbs and her boobs. Thank you very much. She's one of the biggest boobs in all of government. Anyway, no gender attached.
It'd be hilarious if she
Kenneth
came
Beast.
back with just like these cartoonish, like double E boobs or something.
Like, what was that guy that Canadian
teacher,
teacher?
shop teacher? Yeah.
Oh, or if she's linked with the cartels, maybe they've done those surgeries where they'll slice open your skin and implant all the drugs, and then they stitch you up and they try to get you across customs. Then you have to have the surgery to unzip your skin and let it out. But you've never heard of these?
I know they do drug mules, but I guess if they can't, swallow a condom full of cocaine, they're gonna find other methods, and they're just gonna surgically implant drugs inside of you. That's pretty terrifying.
So that could be what Katie
part
Hobbs
of her
is doing.
deal.
That could be that. Yeah. We did a favor for you. Now you do a favor for me. Hey, forget about it. Okay. Kenneth is saying guilty AZF dash CK.
Right.
Guilty as in Arizona.
Yeah.
So anyway, okay. Well, we're just gonna keep an eye on the Katie Hobbs story. We'll give you more as it comes up. But I smell something rotten in Tempe. Something rotten in Phoenix. So we shall see. Arizona Senate equals RICO indictments against Katie Hobbs. Fingers crossed. That's what Jocelyn is saying. It's time. I cannot just keep waiting for another shoe to drop. Everything is obvious. We see who the criminal cartel is. Just go. Do something about it. All right. Next topic. And we will get to the junior varsity debate last night. I found it to be incredibly unnewsworthy, so we've buried it in the stack. But we'll get to it, and it'll be the main story we talk about. But, Blake, what about this one? Agree or disagree that the Biden impeachment inquiry, is it just another fishing expedition?
I'm going to disagree. I think there's massive amounts of evidence to dig through, unlike the impeachment of Trump, when they were desperately trying to tie him to Russia somehow to prove that he was a Putin puppet. Of course, we wasted 2 years of our time and tax dollars to fund the fishing expedition, and it kind of failed. And it didn't stop the Democrats, and certainly no apology or anything like that. But now it's time to switch things on them and the turnabout, because there's some massive corruption coming out of the Biden family and all of their business dealings, and that needs to be brought up to the public. So it's not officially an impeachment, but at least it's an inquiry. I guess we got to try to be happy with these small victories, if you want to call it that. But Biden impeachment inquiry launches with focus on the 3 C's of corruption, credibility, and cover-up. House Republicans on Thursday, that is today, launched their impeachment inquiry, hoping to convince Americans that the 46th U.S. president presided over a family influence peddling scheme that collected at least $24 million from foreign interests, ran a campaign that deceived voters in the 2020 election, and oversaw a Justice Department that covered up crimes by his son and possibly others. So it's been months in the making, but sounds like they will go through a complicated array of evidence into a simple narrative about the 3 C's, as I've outlined. The House Oversight Committee has uncovered how the Bidens and their associates have created over 20 shell companies that raked in $24 million, according to House Oversight and Accountability Committee Chairman James Comer, is expected to tell the audience in his opening remarks, along with 9 members of the Biden family who have participated in or benefited from these business schemes. So this could be very damning. There's all kinds of evidence just going into the Burisma connections, and with the IRS and the whistleblowers, and Tony Bobolinsky and Devin Archer. There's a lot of things to look at that are pretty damning as they dig through this, unlike the Trump investigation.
By the way, let me add one thing here. I see our live numbers fluctuating a bit in a bit of an odd way, but it does look like we have the most live viewers in the history of our relaunched show, which is great. But we want to remind you, you need to follow us on a platform that is not evil like YouTube. So you need to follow us on X for now. Blake is at TVs, BLAKEWALLEY. And the New American Media is at American_media_. Follow us on X. Follow us on Rumble, the New American Media on Rumble, and follow Blake's homepage as well, thenextlevelnews.com. Because if people are watching us on ScrewTube, you know what? These people are openly hostile to me, and I'm becoming openly hostile to them. I did get to go see Pantera and a couple of days ago, and I got to hear them play Fucking Hostile. Oh, that's a great song for these deep state traitors. I am openly fucking hostile to them. So anyway, follow us in those important places, because YouTube and Facebook, they are there, and we will work with them in theory while we can. And I just consider every single day to be on borrowed time with these assholes. So anyway, I just wanted to add that quick little point.
No, it's good stuff, because they could take these YouTube channels down tomorrow and people will be like, oh, I guess they just don't do show anymore. But no, without warning, sometimes YouTube will hit that in the middle of the night or whatever. Like, oh, we got a strike on your channel. We're sorry to, we're sorry to hear or bring this news or whatever. But, I forget exactly how they word it, Brian. You just got the message. I know this is disappointing news, but, will you be down for a week and you can appeal, blah, blah, blah. And then they usually just dismiss that. They don't really care. But I did have them appeal once and was able to get rid of a strike. But usually those things linger on. And as soon as you get rid of one, another one appears. But that's the way they operate. But now we have to run this ticker on the bottom, which is fine. But then they dug under the archives and got Brian for something from a show we did months ago. I don't know how they found it or if they use bots or what have you, but they will dig and they will find ways to shut you down. So
we have a new listener watcher on the YouTube, as we mentioned, ScrewTube. Dustin says she knows she cheated and says her house is crumbling like a dried up shit cookie. That's based on the Katie Hobbs, Arizona story. We'll see. But Jocelyn over there in Arizona, she's also saying, just looked it up. Did you know that CNN, MSNBC, and the big three networks have blacked out coverage of today's Biden impeachment inquiry? I wonder why. It's so interesting what they're pushing. It's so interesting. And it's so interesting what Hannity and Fox are pushing for a debate that nobody asked for, that nobody wanted. And we'll get to that in a second. But it's hilarious it's absurd. It's all absurd. Why anybody watches these proven liars, I will never know. You got to follow the New American Media, because the old American media is full of it. Yeah. Biden accepted bribes from China because Trump. Yeah, that's pretty much how they'll try to spin it, because they have nothing on their side, Blake. But as far as the impeachment inquiry, I wonder if I should inquire. Oh my God, they did not wait to impeach Trump. McCarthy is such a disappointment. He has not released the J6 footage as he promised, and they have not gone to one single vote, single issue, single vote as he promised. He promised a lot of things that he's not delivering on. And we're set to what? Is the government going to shut down tomorrow? Is that what we're set for?
It's coming up. I don't know when exactly they're going to shut it down. I think it was like November or something, but maybe I'm out of date on that. But I would think there'd be more news circulating on Twitter if they were actually going to shut the government down tomorrow. But
I heard it was
maybe there's a vote on it or something like that. But I don't think it's actually shutting down tomorrow. So we'll see.
Well, anyway, anything else about the Biden impeachment inquiry?
Nope. I think it's time to get to one of the major stories. No, it's just all it is an inquiry. So that's it. So hopefully they gather the evidence, and hopefully the American public will get a chance to see it, because they deserve to know. And if they ran this thing against Trump, they ran 2 impeachment hearings already on them, then it's time. There's a lot more stuff going on with Biden. So people complain about, Trump, but, look at Biden. Everything is at least 100 times worse. So it's time to be intellectually honest and do what's best for the country, whether you like these candidates or not. They deserve scrutiny, and if they're selling out the executive branch to foreign interests, then it's time to put a stop to that. If not, then hey, just an inquiry, and then we'll see what develops. So, and then hopefully people will demand to see what's going on. So,
all right. Now let's talk about the junior varsity game last night. All right, we're going to get to the story that it was shown on the thumbnail of today's episode.
Sorry.
And if you notice on that little stinger, that little New American Media stinger there, the American flag is upside down. Blake, you're the king of upside down, or you're the king of t-shirts, political t-shirts. We need to get you an upside down flag t-shirt. I think that needs to be the new thing, because this is the international symbol of we are a nation in distress. We've been overthrown. We are in trouble. SOS. Help, help, help. We're actively being attacked. But my initial impressions watching this junior varsity outing yesterday in the second GOP debate, all I can see is a group of traitors who are just allowing President Trump to get raked through the coals, R-A-K-E-D, raked through the coals, accused of mountains of bullshit, trying to be politically assassinated. And all I'm seeing from these Republicans, every time Chris Christie opens up his Trump attacking mouth, every time I see Mike Pence try to take credit for what he and Trump did while still slamming President Trump, every time I listened to little whiny Ron DeSantis, God, is that guy whiny? I can't stand listening to him anymore. All I see are traitor, 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 traitor. What is supposed to happen in a political party when you have some semblance of hierarchy, common sense, decency, and aptitude, you circle your wagons. That's in the Serengeti. If there's an injured creature, if there's a young creature being hunted, they will run circles and they will protect them. And the herd running circles, where it could be a Conestoga wagon during an attack from Apaches somewhere out in the flyover states, whatever. It's you circle the wagons and you protect what's inside. Women and children inside. Men, we're going to go circle our wagons and protect. Nobody is protecting Donald Trump. Nobody. Ramaswamy, he's even starting to back up just a little bit. He's the only one that remotely gets this answer right. He's the only one that even comes close. Everyone else is swinging blindly. And this is why they're on the junior varsity field. Why the fuck would the starting quarterback for Friday night high school, why would they go play Saturday mornings with the scrubs? The superstar plays in the big game. And all these people on JV, they're just sitting there looking at the guy playing quarterback on Friday night saying, I sure hope he gets injured. I'd love a chance to play. I'd love to get a shot. What a bunch of spineless, traitorous vultures, Blake. That was my initial takeaway from the second junior varsity debate. What was your takeaway?
It was a shit show. It was really lousy. It was not moderated very well. I guess it was semi-entertaining, but there was a few moments, but not really. It was overall one of the worst debates that I've seen. Just off the rails, and at least half those people shouldn't even be up there, and it went into chaos a few times. I like Ramaswamy, and I think Ronnie D at least deserves his spot up there, even though we have our issues with him. I don't really care for the rest of them. I mean, the North Dakota guy is okay, but it was just North Dakota. We get it. nice enough guy, but I think he's out of his element there. And that's it. And then Christie's he's just there to be a thug to take out Trump, and that's all he really brings.
And you know what Christie brings? I saw it right after. I saw it was an interview with Gavin Newsom, and he says that he what was I had the phrase he tricked, he baited Ron DeSantis into a debate. He baited him into it, and that's all that Chris Christie's doing. Yeah, well, you know who should be here? President Trump should be here. Yeah, little Donald Duck. Donald Duck.
Right.
What a clown. And every time Tim Scott speaks, it's like he's trying to channel some sort of soaring figure. Every time Pence speaks, it's, well, it is the most subdued. They're all fake as fuck, except for Vivek, who's too good. He sounds too good. You can't possibly believe what he's saying. I don't know. Did Nikki Haley win the debate?
I love the balls on that guy. Yeah, he's so clear, and he's willing to just say the controversial thing. They're trying to hold it because they want to make sure that everybody's on the same neocon talking points. And then as soon as he starts talking and says, yeah, we should kick out these illegals, or like right to the lady's face from Univision. So I respect the balls. They're trying to say the Ukraine war is probably not a good idea, and they immediately cut him off. That was another one of the highlights. So I do like what he brings to the table. Yes, and I do not completely trust him. I've not been entirely convinced on some of the interviews that he's done, but I really like what I've seen so far. So at these debates, I really like the way he composes himself, and I admire his intelligence. But
the thing,
so I keep him. He's great. And then, get all those people off the stage. We'll get to that as who we think we should be voted off the island.
So
I was surprised.
So stupid. The thing I did like, by the way, Dreamer Ultra is saying Vivek may be an insurance policy. And had little Ronnie DeSantis just said, look, I'm backing President Trump. He had a great 4 years. I think he could have done several things better, but he's the guy. He's way ahead in the polls. If for some reason he's unable to compete, fine, nominate me and I'll take it. But that's the way you could have not lost me, Ronnie D, to just bypass that first basic initial step, thinking we weren't going to notice how traitorous and venomous that is. Give me a break. And Burgum was okay, but come on. Burgum does not deserve that spot more than Larry Elder deserves it. Not even close. So, name recognition, ran for California governor, articulate as shit. And what was with this? Who the hell did they team up with? Fox is lost. Fox has lost the plot, people. They're teaming up with Univision to get this little lady up there like, well, how are you going to make illegals legal? What are you going to do for dreamers to make them more happy in your country that they snuck into because of the actions of their parents? What are you going to do? It's like, holy shit, you just work for CNN? You just work for MSNBC. Why are you on the Republican stage? Why are you on the Republican debate pushing your blended society issues? There's a country here, and there's a country down there, and then there's a bunch of countries below Mexico. They're all countries. We all have our own individual nuances and characteristics. Just trying to blur the lines and removing all culture and protocol and procedures is ridiculous, Blake. And this is what Fox was promoting with all of that line of questioning. Did you start picking up on that over and over? They're just trying to push Democrat policy decisions, the deep state policy decisions, to ruin and destroy American sovereignty and our Second Amendment rights. Everything that came out of that lady's mouth was anti-American, anti-constitutional. It was repulsive to me. Am I exaggerating this? Because I half watched this. I admit I couldn't stand. Every time I caught I could only take it in small bites, and then I'd tweet something and it's playing in the background. And I'd switch over to Trump talking to the UAW. So was that your takeaway from this Univision hack that was up there pushing the deep state Fox News agenda? Because Fox News is gone. Fox News is not the Fox News you grew up on.
No, but I mean, I had more of an issue with Dana Perino than I did with her. I expect that from her, but I think it's okay to have, a different voice or to kind of mix things up a little bit. I like Varney. He's a good guy, but he kind of just lost control. It kind of like disappeared half the time. He came out with the opening statement. I thought they were going to ask some, interesting economic questions. I thought Dana Perino was easily the weakest link to me. Even though it was kind of one of the highlights when she was going after Burgum or whatever, threatening to shut off his mic. But all the times there where Tim Scott and Haley were continuously interrupting. They should have shut their microphone off.
Tim Scott with going after
he was the worst offender up there. Yeah.
Oh, I had to tweet out, and I don't think I even used an obscenity for this, but I just tweet out, "Shut up, Tim Scott! Shut up!" Now, to be fair, I was yelling the same thing at President Donald Trump in the 2020 debates against Joe Biden. Trump, shut up and get out of your own way. Let Biden, give him the rope. He knows what to do with it. Just get out of the way. He'll trip over it. He'll end up. Trump would not shut the hell up, and it became too much. Trying to just dominate for the sake of domination, that's not always a win. It's not always a winning strategy. I see you pulled something up here. Let me double click it, Blake.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Yes. Gotcha. Go ahead.
It's just a quick clip out of the Daily Caller just to show, two of the worst offenders for interrupting. That's why it went off the rails, and it was just poorly moderated. So we can check out a little bit of this.
Ambassador, you literally put $50,000 on curtains and a $15 million subsidized location. Next.
You got bad information. First of all, I fought the gas tax in South Carolina multiple times against the establishment.
Just go to YouTube.
Against the establishment.
Just go to
and
YouTube
you want to know what that
yourself.
10 cent was? When they wouldn't pass the gas tax, the establishment and the companies wanted me to do it so much that I said the only way I will pass it if you will give us three.
All you have to do is
shut up. Yeah, all we have to do is shut your mic off, let her finish, then you can talk. And then you shut up, and then she can talk.
Nikki Haley on you.
If you will give me 3 times the deduction in income tax, then I will look at your gas tax, which is why it didn't happen. Secondly, on the $50 million.
Here is a nice part.
Secondly, on the curtains, do your homework, Tim, because Obama bought those curtains.
Did you send them back?
It's in the press.
Did you send them back?
It's the State Department.
Did you send them back?
Did you send them back? You're the one that works in Congress.
Oh my gosh.
You get it
You
done.
hung them on your curtains.
They were there before I even showed up at the residence. You are scrapping. You are scrapping.
I'm not scrapping.
You know I fought
Here's a fact. Here's a fact, though.
I cut taxes. I loaded up our
You wanted a gas tax increase, and then you wanted
Ladies and gentlemen, we do not intend to go ahead like this. In fact, we're about to take a commercial break. We'll have more of the second.
And then all of a sudden you'd have Burgum, reaching out from over the interrupting to North Dakota from the end. Constantly. I mean, everybody should have their, a chance to speak on certain issues. And I don't like the way they format these things, but they have too many candidates, and it's probably time for a couple of them at least to step away so we can focus on the ones that matter the most, I would think. And speaking of that, Brian, I know we don't have a ton of time. I've only got maybe 10 minutes left, but we'll get to this the poll here. So this is part of the question here. Do you think Nikki Haley was the winner of the second Republican debate?
No.
And I think most people tended to agree on that one. And I will pull up the old Matt Drudge and his famous polls after these debates. And according to them, with 34,000 votes, it was Nikki Haley, 37%. DeSantis with 22 and Ramaswamy with 18. So, yeah, Pence and Scott were awful.
Hang on. We got to pull this up. Hold on.
Oh, okay.
Remember, it's a double click now. Okay.
Oh, yes. The two-step, the two factors.
Remind us again, it was Haley at what percent? DeSantis at
37% for Haley, even though Matt Drudge gets a fraction of the traffic. This used to be like 340,000 votes or something. It seemed like it was just insane the amount of traffic that they got. Not anymore. Now it's just basically down to the never Trumper neocons that continue to listen to Drudge. He's become pretty irrelevant for a lot of us lately, but it's still a major poll, and they think that Nikki Haley won. Yeah, she did get a couple of zingers in there, but I mean, it's just this total deep state, neocon talking points. That's all that she seems to do. And of course, one of the big highlights was Haley knocks Ramaswamy over his stance on TikTok. We'll run this one. So Nikki Haley slammed her rival Vivek over his presence on TikTok, the Chinese video sharing app that has attracted criticism. The 38-year-old Vivek is the only candidate so far to have joined the platform after he called it a tool to help Beijing to push a digital fentanyl to Americans. Candidate credited YouTube influencer Jake Paul for changing his mind, arguing the platform is critical in reaching out to young people, but that's where she got to intervene. Let's see if we can run part of this clip.
Who do you side with on that one? No, I'm not hearing anything if you're playing it.
Oh, you're not hearing anything on this?
No, nothing. Still nothing.
Oh, that's weird. Let me try it again.
What they're doing is these 150 million people are on TikTok. That means they can get your contacts, they can get your financial information, they can get your emails, they can get just say.
That was funny. She just jumped in though to interrupt because he couldn't finish his point. But this is the second time that she did that.
They teamed up on Vivek this time. They teamed up on him. They really ganged up on him.
Yeah, and the worst, I think, offense, of course, was when he got to speak on Ukraine. This one really, this enraged this person. It also enraged me. This was the part of the time where I was screaming at the TV for her to shut up. But this is what happens when these warmonger neocons, and they get a different point of view, and they automatically just shut them down so that they can look good for their corporate overlord.
Putin's an evil dictator does not mean that Ukraine is good. This is a country that has banned 11 opposition parties.
A win
that has
for Russia is a win for
not
China.
True. We're driving
a win
Russia.
For Russia
excuse
is
me.
A win for China.
Excuse me. If you have
but
a chance,
I forgot you like China. That's why you're.
Look at that. I mean, this is his turn to speak. We want to hear what he says about the Ukraine war, and that is a very good point. We could say, Russia is bad, of course. That Putin is a ruthless dictator, of course, but that does not mean that we should be giving a blank check to Ukraine or that Ukraine is good. It is the most corrupt country in Europe, and we've been meddling in there for a long time. This is a bigger issue. It's with NATO and going over the line and protecting the people of Donbass and Crimea. There's a lot more to this story that we're not hearing, and as soon as somebody starts bringing up those points, the neocons, the Mike Pence and the Nikki Haley have got to immediately jump in and shout that down.
And let me just say, I dislike when people talk over other people. I get that there's occasionally, and I mean, this is like 1 to 3% of a conversation where you have to assert yourself, you have to make a point. But if you're going to cut somebody else off, you usually need to make a quick, salient point and then back away so that it's not abrasive. I dislike it when anyone does it. I especially dislike it when a lady does it. There's something that's triggered in me from my mother.
Misogynist.
When my mother was telling me what to do or what not to do, or because 90% of my teachers were females, and they're and it starts to trigger that. I dislike when anybody talks over somebody else. I especially dislike it when you hear Nikki Haley doing it. It's just fingernails on a chalkboard. It's not the proper use of timing and diction and the way to get your most salient points across. It's antithetical to me being able to even hear you. If you look back on when you played that clip with her and Tim Scott, I literally started covering my ears and like pulling on my hair. It was hurting my head. I have a visceral, physical reaction to it. Physically, it hurt. Like it hurts to hear. So no, I don't think Nikki Haley won at all. You know who I think won? Who do you think won, Blake?
I guess if I had to pick a winner, I'd have to go with Ramaswamy. Absolutely. I think it's clear. And to me, and getting into this because I've only got a few minutes left here, if we were going to vote people off of this island and vote them off the stage, I announced basically Ramaswamy and DeSantis, and they should go in a big battle, and then winner takes on Trump. But I think I want to see Haley. I want to have her do one more debate, and because people think she deserves to be up there, or if she won this debate, I want to see those three: DeSantis, Ramaswamy, and Nikki Haley duke it out, but they have to shut off her microphone. She cannot be allowed to interrupt when they bring stuff up like the Ukraine war. People need to hear that point of view. And I would love to see her grilled on that issue, because Ramaswamy did call her out in a previous debate saying that she's basically owned by Raytheon. And yes, it's clear that's where she's getting her big money, from these big defense contractors that want to prolong this war. And they don't want Americans to hear the other side of the story. So I loved his intellectually honest take, is that both Russia and Ukraine can be bad. It's not one or the other. So,
three quick points here from the comment section. Dustin says, LOL, if Trump picks her for VP, I swear to God. Okay, I agree with you there. Dreamer Ultra is channeling his inner Kenneth, saying, call her Nikki Whaling instead of Nikki Haley, Nikki Whaling. Okay, yeah, he's wailing. And then the Debster says, when people talk over each other, it's disrespectful to the audience. And that's exactly what I was saying. I can't hear you. I shut down physically. It hurts my brain to get too much of that. A little, it's a dash of saffron. You don't dump a pile of saffron, and it's just like that. It's two little sprigs. A little goes a long way. But as far as who won the debate, I put the poll questions out on X at American_media_, and I still think President Trump won by not attending. Him going to the UAW and saying some, he wasn't particularly pandering to them. He was saying what he normally says about unions, that they're killing the goose that lays the golden eggs and they got to renegotiate. You know what? Trump is smart to do that. Counter programming. I was watching him while I was trying to listen to these shrill voices battle for, for relevance, I suppose. But anyway,
they go for cabinet positions and what have you. But I
wouldn't hire any of these people. Maybe Vivek, and maybe
North Dakota guy's nice. You could have him do something, but I mean, he's out of his element. North Dakota is a fine state, but they have a fraction of the population that most other ones do. And he's a businessman, and he's qualified in his own way. But to try to go from North Dakota governor or whatever to the major office in D.C. there is a big. That's a big gap. I don't think he's quite ready for prime time. But yeah, it's good to have some alternative voices, and I'd certainly rather have him there than some of the other people.
Right.
But I don't think he's going to catch on.
Well,
nice man.
Well, I think we're at that time. Did you have any parting? I saw you toss a couple stories. Any quick hits on your way out the door, or you got to bounce this particular second?
Yeah, I pretty much got to go here. Minutes. But I think we kind of covered that with the pointless screaming match of the chaos-packed GOP primary debates.
And who we'd vote off the island. We'd trim it down to, it's DeSantis, it's Vivek, it's Haley. There's nobody else.
Yeah, we can call this.
But we should call it anyway. They need to circle their wagons and protect Donald fucking Trump already. Like this.
Well, Ramaswamy does. Yeah, Vivek does. And so I think if there was going to be a VP, I do like Vivek, but there are some issues I don't entirely trust. He is saying the right things, but he could be kind of the GOP Obama, where we don't quite know enough about this guy, and we're going to find out too late. And he was just telling us what we wanted to hear. And then he's going to crumble for whatever interests are pulling his strings. I don't know. I've seen a lot of good stuff, but I've also seen him fail in a couple of interviews too.
And if you think going from North Dakota to the White House is going to be tough, how about you go from a failed tech startup company that sold a bad Alzheimer's drug and made yourself filthy rich in the process to the White House? That's like from nowhere to somewhere. That's a big leap.
All righty. Well, it was been a pleasure, Brian. Wish I had a little more time, but it's time for me to run. thank you so much, everyone, to be here. It was a great show, and I look forward to doing it next time.
Yes.
Brian, I sent you a couple of stories just because we can fill up whatever topics we didn't cover, and I'll let you carry us out, and we'll see you next time. So
tell everybody where to follow you again, Blake.
TV's Blake Walley, Twitter, and nextlevelnews.com. All right, see you later, guys. I'm out.
Deuces. Goodbye, Blake. Thank you again, sir. Follow him in all the spaces. Yeah, make sure you're following the New American Media on X at American_media_. On Telegram, we're at TNAM and TNAM Chat, TNAMCHAT. Telegram is a site that we're allowed to be ourselves as well. They're few and far between. We're on Truth Social, so we'll put our stuff on Truth Social and on Spotify. I mean, we've had problems with YouTube, with Facebook, with Patreon. It's just, you know, you reach a point, man. You reach a point. So yeah, we talked about who was going to get voted off the island. Let me pull this off of the ticker here and get to this story. This is interesting. It's good, but it's not enough. So, excuse me. This is about the Canadian Speaker of the House who has quit following a Nazi scandal. Look at that. Look at these goofy pilgrim. What are they wearing? Are these ties? Ugh, these two. Ugh. The theme of today's show is me viscerally getting disgustipated looking at some of these people. Trudeau and Zelensky, nothing. Oh. I cringe. So this is from summit.news. The Canadian Speaker of the House has resigned following the incident where a 98-year-old SS soldier was cheered and honored in Parliament, with Prime Minister Justin Trudeau refusing to take any responsibility. I am so shocked. Despite meeting with the Ukrainian Nazi beforehand. As Summit.news noted earlier this week, Anthony Rota apologized for the scandal, but it wasn't enough. Trudeau threw Rota under the bus. Opposition leader Pierre Poilievre told Parliament that Canadians are sick and tired of a prime minister who never takes responsibility for things that happen under his watch, adding he always finds someone else to throw under the bus and asking the Speaker of the House, are you that person? Well, anyway, I just read it, but let's
the opposition. Well, if the Prime Minister is so proud of how he conducted himself, he would be on the floor in the House of Commons today.
Okay, I like the leader of the opposition, Pierre.
Canadians are sick and tired of a Prime Minister.
Honourable members, that the presence in the gallery, all MPs have duties in the chamber and outside. I just want to remind them that referring to their presence or absence is not allowed in the rules. The Honourable Opposition Leader, please continue.
Mr. Speaker, Canadians are sick and...
Referring to a politician's presence or absence is not allowed in their rules. Huh. Because they have duties and obligations. Huh. I mean, is that a distinction without a difference?
I'm tired of a prime minister who never takes responsibilities for the things that happen under his watch, whether it's the record high inflation or interest rates or the doubling of housing costs or the constant international embarrassments. He always finds someone else to throw under the bus. Are you that person?
Are you that person?
Okay. Mr. Speaker, I know the leader of the opposition doesn't want to rely on the facts, but the facts in this situation are that the government had no prior knowledge.
Oh, this girl. This is a Katie Hobbs clone. It's the haircut. It's the glasses. It's like they went into central casting, but she appears to be supporting Trudeau.
Nor that he would be recognized. And if they go back and recall what happened on Friday, they will see that it was indeed the Speaker of the House that recognized this individual. We were all caught off guard. It's dear is deeply embarrassing to this Parliament, but to Canada, and I ask that we all deal with this responsibly. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
She's claiming that they were caught off guard despite the fact that they met and they knew exactly what was going on. That's what it makes no sense. You got the Azov battalion, you have literal Nazis. We're hunting Nazis. In Ukraine. Ukraine is banning political opponents and free speech. There's nothing free about Ukraine. There's nothing, like, show me what's good about the regime that Obama, Biden overthrew in 2014 to take over that country. Tell me what's gone right. What's gone right in America since Obama, Biden overthrew America in 2020? Can you point to a single thing? This is controlled destruction. It's demolition. It's chaos. So Speaker Anthony Rota resigned because he had a Nazi. I reiterate my profound regret for my error in recognizing an individual in the House during the joint address to President Zelensky, he said.
Your attention, order.
Let's hear him say it.
With a heavy heart that I rise to inform members of my resignation as Speaker of the House of Commons. It has been my greatest honor as a parliamentarian to have been elected by you, my peers, to serve as the Speaker of the House of Commons for the 40.
This is the literal definition of fall guy. It's a fall guy. Welcome back, Jekyll. How are you? I love everybody in the chat rooms, but you need to find us on X. Can you start watching us on X? We're trying to figure out how to stream live on Rumble. It's not set up on our Restream app. There's a different way to. I'm trying to figure it out. I don't know if we're eligible, but if we can port all of you awesome people who are on YouTube over to X, because we may not be here. We got our wrist slapped by the nun. We were flagged and we had content removed off of our channel. I love all of you in this group and everybody who logs in and signs up and jumps over. But can you try to find us in X? Actually, here's a challenge. If any of you could jump over to @American_media_ on X, subscribe to us or follow us, whatever you do, and type a couple comments over there. I know you only do YouTube and Rumble at this time. I know. You think I want to be on Signal, Dust, Telegram, Truth Social? I need another social media app like I need a hole in my head. I know you're working so you can't. I know. I'm just saying. I don't want to lose all of you people when YouTube does what YouTube is going to do. That's all I'm saying. Let's get back to Anthony Rota being thrown underneath the bus.
3rd and 44th Parliament. I have, as your humble servant of this House, carrying out the important responsibilities of this position to the very best of my abilities. Je tiens à vous remercier.
I would like to thank you, my colleagues, for your.
Okay, I don't know why they're replaying that. Yeah, so Rota further stated the public recognition has caused pain to individuals and communities, including the Jewish community in Canada and around the world, in addition to survivors of Nazi atrocities in Poland, among other nations. It seemingly didn't matter that Trudeau personally met with the Nazi before celebration that was held in Parliament. It has come out today, says Pierre Poilievre, that Justin Trudeau personally met with and honored a veteran of the 14th Waffen Grenadier Division of the SS, a Nazi division. Liberals then arranged for this Nazi veteran to be recognized on the floor in the House of Commons during the visit. And this is Friends of Simon Wiesenthal Center. They're appalled that Canada's parliament gave a standing ovation to a Ukrainian veteran who served in a Nazi military unit during the Second World War, implicated in the mass murder of Jews and others. It's not enough. This is not enough. Get rid of this guy. So check this out.
Obviously, it's extremely upsetting that this happened. The Speaker.
Is it as upsetting as all your blackface? Or your banning of guns so that your citizens are left helpless? Or how you treated the truckers? We need a strong neighbor to the north, and you, Mr. Fancy Pants, are not him.
The Speaker has acknowledged his mistake and has apologized. Something that is Canada and by extension to all Canadians. I think particularly of Jewish MPs and all members of the Jewish community across the country who are celebrating commemorating Yom Kippur today. I think it's going to be really important that all of us push back against Russian propaganda, Russian disinformation, and continue our steadfast and unequivocal support for Ukraine as we did last week with announcing further measures to stand with Ukraine in Russia's illegal war against it.
This is epic. Justin Trudeau, this is from Benny Johnson, is now blaming the fact that he and Zelensky honored a literal Nazi with a standing ovation before Parliament on Russian disinformation. These globalist traitors have key phrases, key words that they have teed up and ready to go. Russian disinformation. It's insanity, people. So Trudeau didn't show up in Parliament, and his underlings attempted but failed to get all records of the Nazi scandal erased from history. Yeah, they're trying to erase it. By the way, this message is for Debster. I don't know if you can see here. Let me hold this up. This is our Twitter feed at American_media_. I suspect it's going to go meta real soon. I don't mean like as in Facebook. I mean, it's going to be like a show within a show, because soon it will be me showing you the show on the show. But it appears to be streaming live on Twitter, X, at American_media_. So here's me waving, and then there's me waving at me. How do I see that? There I go. Up in that corner there. So it appears to be streaming because she said she was on Twitter and then she subbed to American_media_. And as soon as she clicked the post, it put me back on YouTube. It seems that Twitter wasn't streaming. Can you try it one more time? And thank you. Main point, because I don't want to lose the cool people that are in this group already to the shenanigans of the deep state. So here, this is after Karina Gold fails to get unanimous consent to have recognition of the Ukrainian Nazis struck from the record. Here's what conservative MP Marty Morantz is eventually able to explain the opposition. All right, here we go.
I understand the House Leader is rising on a point of order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to ask for unanimous consent to adopt the following motion. That notwithstanding any standing order, special order, or usual practice of the House,
this is great.
The recognition made by the Speaker of the House of an individual present in the galleries during the joint address to Parliament by His Excellency Volodymyr Zelensky be struck from the appendix of the House of...
I'm sorry, she called him His Excellency? That is gross.
Of Thursday, September 21st, 2023, and from any House multimedia recording. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Oh, yes, the Honourable. I guess we have to go to the, we'll ask about unanimous consent and go to it. All those opposed to the Honourable Ministers moving the motion will please say no. We don't have unanimous consent. We have another.
You know, and this is exactly what Google YouTube does. They try to take content that they dislike and throw it down the memory hole. The episode that we got dinged for, you can still find on Rumble and on Odyssey, Odyssee. It should still be there, I believe. But definitely on Rumble. Go to Rumble. Is Hawaii under attack? That was the episode that they did not like us hearing. They did not like us speaking. They did not like hearing it. So YouTube hid it because Google changes their algorithm so that you literally cannot find the things that you're looking for. I have episodes with Larry Elder that I've done where he talks about the disintegration of the black family. Oh, YouTube hates that episode. They have just they've shadow banned it. If you type Brian Engelman, Larry Elder, and I've spoken with him multiple times, so there's several that come up. But this particular episode, they refuse to let anyone see it. If Hawaii was under attack, they would take the stories and the articles and take them off of the search results so that they're trying to take reality like a hunk of clay, a jar of Play-Doh. I don't know, whatever you want to use as an analogy here. But they're trying to mold reality into what they want things to be in reality. That's not how fucking reality works. And that's not how medical disinformation works. Medicine, much like religion, must be debated robustly daily. Your version of what's truth may not be my version of what's truth. The misinformation you think is accurate might be disproven tomorrow, next week, next month, next year. And it's what we've seen in the past couple of years. That's exactly what it's been. The shit that I was saying, the stuff that Blake was saying as well, has all been right there. Right on point. I mean, maybe not perfect, but we're north of a 90% clip on this stuff. Whereas the liars who claim we are the science, we are reality, we know better than you, they have been wrong 70% of the time. We have a ticker at the bottom of our screen right there in light blue for countervailing views. CDC.gov/vaccine. CISA.gov/rumor control. Get your countervailing views, folks. You can literally get your stock footage, talking point memos from the deep state on almost any other fucking platform out there. I don't know why we have to say those are countervailing views. Those are your views. Those are your deep state, nonstop perma views. We are the countervailing view, motherfucker. We are the ones with an alternative breakdown, an alternative diagnosis, an alternative interpretation of the events around us. We, the new American media, are the countervailing views to you who are trying to censor and silence anybody who ever disagrees with you. There's an episode of The Simpsons where Ned Flanders talks about it and says he's having an existential crisis. He feels as though God has abandoned him. He says, Lord, I've done everything you've asked me to do, even the things that contradict the other things. Even the things that contradict the other things. These countervailing views that must be constantly talked about, they contradict themselves. Everything valid has the opportunity to be debated. Anything else is propaganda. So the reason I said all of that, and it triggered me again to be so annoyed with, yes, Kenneth B., we are the world. Yeah, I know I might need to change my tone or tenor to bring out a we are the world vibe. But yeah, I get your point about the deep state, the globalists there. But the reason I went down this path again is because this lady, this Katie Hobbs clone, who's calling Zelensky your excellency. Yeah, that's such a gross term. She's attempting to rewrite history and erase the fact that that happened. Now, that's a little different. Even the Bill of Rights put in there about prohibition. And you know what? When they repealed prohibition, they left it in there that it was repealed. Because it's important in the timeline of things when the history books are written. After the coming cataclysm, when somebody finds these digital files floating in the atmosphere somewhere, and our words and thoughts and impressions and arguments live on, our debates continue in perpetuity. She's trying to just take it out like it never happened. Now, I know what the House is trying to do is to expunge these garbage indictments and these garbage impeachment inquiries and these garbage impeachments against President Donald John Trump. But you leave it in the record what the dirty deep state Democrats did. Dirty deep state Democrat did. That gets kind of fun to say, doesn't it? Anyway, let's continue with this lady.
Order.
Order in the House.
We have another point on
Bravo.
the honourable member for Charleswood, St. James, Assiniboia, Headingley, and then we'll go to Toronto. Danforth.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's important when we say no to this motion that is on such an important matter that we state our rationale. It would be
order.
There's no. This sounds like a Republican JV debate.
Order. Ask the honourable member to start over. I didn't hear what he started with or what he was saying.
Like Nikki Haley.
And I want to hear what he has to say. Please.
To state the rationale why this motion is completely out of order. And that's why I'm rising on a point.
Well, it's going to stop. Now it's going to buffer. Oh, come on.
And that's why I'm rising on a point of order, Mr. Speaker. It would be absolutely wrong to strike what was said from the record. It goes without saying that those who do not learn from history are...
That's an order. One moment, please. I'm going to ask the clerk to come up.
This really seems like a GOP junior varsity debate.
Call on it. 1 second.
Totally lost control. Okay. So they're going silent, trying to figure this out. When do they get back to this guy? I guess, when you watch other dysfunctional governments, it's like, well, at least we're not the only one. Kind of one of those misery loves company kind of things. Kenneth B. Order. I'll have the cheeseburger.
Order.
I'll have a cheeseburger, no a hamburger. You'll have nothing and like it.
Order. The honourable member for Charleswood, St. James, Assiniboia, Headingley.
It goes without saying that those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it. Sir, this is a Wendy's.
Curious to see where you're going. Please get to the point. I'm just.
But I appreciate your giving me the floor to explain our rationale. It goes without saying that those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it. What happened on Friday was shameful and brought embarrassment to this chamber. It was an ugly reminder of what survivors of the Holocaust know too well, that we must never forget. Deleting the text of the Speaker's words from Hansard would have...
I'm going to have to interrupt.
This is incredible.
I'm afraid it's getting into debate more than anything else.
Guys like Dana Perino totally lost control of the room.
More than anything else, and I can't point of order on something that's already been voted on. I'm just trying to make some sense out of it. Okay. I'll let the honourable member go a little bit further, but I'm trying to figure out where he's going with this. I can't say I disagree with what he's saying, but I just want to, it's not a point of order.
Deleting the text of the Speaker's words from Hansard would have only one purpose, to try and forget what happened, to wash the record clean. Removing this from...
I'm afraid this is debate. The honourable member for Calgary Nose Hill, and then we'll go over to... Or is it on the...
Wouldn't even let him
item?
finish his thought.
No, is this on the same item? Okay, the honourable member for Calgary Nose Hill.
My colleague from Winnipeg to continue to be heard, Mr. Speaker. I seek that.
All those opposed to the honourable member moving the motion will please say nay. Okay, we don't have that.
All right. So the Canadian Speaker of the House has quit. Spectator writer Brendan O'Neill notes that this is the same Trudeau who fantasizes that Nazism lurks everywhere, who gleefully brands his critics as far right. You know what far right means. That's a dog. This is me talking. That's a dog whistle. And that's exactly what he did for the truckers. He said the same stuff about the truckers. He's a racial arsonist. This is me talking. Let me get back to what he's doing. Trudeau gleefully brands his critics as far right. Trudeau has damned everyone from parents worried about LGBTQ trans education. I added trans. Well, I guess that's the T. To truckers concerned about vaccine mandates as foot soldiers of a 1930s style populism. Sorry, sometimes I get ahead of myself. I start offering analysis and commentary on something when, like, if I just let it happen, that would be the next sentence. That's literally like what I was saying about interrupting people. I was interrupting somebody else by me talking over it. Wow, that's a meta moment. Whew. So Brendan O'Neill, Justin Trudeau's Nazi blind spot. Trudeau's government sees fascists everywhere, except when one is standing right under their nose. That's the brilliant, if peak irony, of Canadian Parliament's standing ovation for Honka. Welcome to Woke Canada. Woke Canada, where moms and pops who would rather their kid wasn't transitioned behind their backs are far right, while a literal former SS fighter gets a fulsome round of applause, he adds. O'Neill continues, you don't need a PhD in European history to think that a Ukrainian military man who fought against the Ruskies in the late 40s was probably linked with the Nazis, adding the cluelessness is off the scale. He concludes that the Hunka scandal is a perfect snapshot of the liberal elite's weird and delirious obsession with the far-right boogeyman. I added boogeyman. They marshal the horrors of the 1940s to condemn their critics in the here and now, as if every trucker protest and parental uprisings were a harbinger of a new Fourth Reich. When face to face with someone who was involved in the horrors of the 40s, they smile and fawn. They smile and fawn. So there it is, folks. Quite the interesting situation in Canada. I pray that our neighbors to the north can get back to having some sort of strong, some sort of reasonable leader, a government that makes a little bit of sense, somebody that can help us protect our northern border crossings. Perhaps. I really do fear for what's coming for this hemisphere. Ooh, that rhymes. I fear for this hemisphere. And here is the story that Blake sent. This is from the Gateway Pundit. Poland seeks extradition of Oh, wait, did I pull it up? I got to double click. Restreaming app. I'm telling you. Glitchy. Poland to seek extradition of former SS Nazi fighter honored in Canadian Parliament during Zelensky visit. Look at this. Oh my God. The Nazigate scandal continues to rage back and forth in Canada and in Europe. Anthony Rota resigned to his speakership of the Canadian House, insisting he was solely to blame for the invitation made to Yaroslav Hunka to appear in Parliament. The 98-year-old Ukrainian-Canadian veteran fought in the Nazi SS Galician during the Second World War, a formation involved in multiple war crimes. Now, in a move sure to escalate tensions, Poland's education minister declared that he has taken steps to effect the extradition of Hunka to Poland. Well, Hunka was invited to sit in the parliamentary gallery, allegedly by Speaker Anthony Rota during Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky's address to Parliament. Rota introduced Hunka as a Ukrainian hero and a Canadian hero, prompting a standing ovation in the House of Commons. But it was soon reported that Hunka was part of the 1st Ukrainian Division, also known as the Waffen-SS Galicia Division, or the SS 14th Waffen Division, a voluntary unit that was under the command of the Nazis. CBC reported, in view of the scandalous events of the Canadian Parliament, which involved honoring in the presence of Zelensky a member of the criminal Nazi SS Galician formation, I've taken steps toward the possible extradition of this man to Poland. Oh, okay, possible extradition. So they're going to have an inquiry. They're going to have an extradition inquiry. God, these do-nothing politicians. It sounds just like Speaker McCarthy. Why wouldn't Speaker McCarthy resign for what he's not doing? Allowing the gulags to continue in D.C. You see case after case of murderers, rapists, the worst vile scum of earth getting tiny, minuscule sentences. And you see people getting 15 years for peaceably walking around in the Capitol on January 6th. Speaker McCarthy is allowing that. He promised to release all that damn footage. Pelosi deleted all the findings of the January 6th committee because they lied about all of it. If Speaker McCarthy isn't going to be a real speaker, he needs to resign. Anyway, they've taken steps towards the possible extradition of this man to Poland. Przemysław Czarnek said in a social media post Tuesday. Anthony Rota announced his resignation after he apologized to the House and insisted the decision to invite Hunka was entirely his own. Doubtful, unlikely, completely unbelievable. Rota said he personally regretted inviting Hunka and pointing him out in the gallery following Zelensky's remarks. Robert Curie, a law professor at Dalhousie University and an expert in extradition law, told CBC News Canada he does not have a formal extradition agreement. Oh, okay. Canada does not have a formal extradition agreement with Poland. That doesn't prevent extradition. It just makes it a matter of more paperwork between the two governments. Polish Minister Czarnek, responsible for the initiative to extradite Hunka, is a member of Poland's ruling Law and Justice Party and is a conservative re-elected last year on a platform condemning LGBT ideology. What does that have to do with this story? What am I missing here? There is no connective tissue between those paragraphs. It's just like, oh, also, Czarnek is a controversial figure in Poland with a history. Okay, point to somebody who's not a controversial figure. Only right-wing people are called controversial. Have you noticed that? Now, the Gateway Pundit, do they lean? They lean right, don't they? Czarnek is a controversial figure in Poland with a history of coming under fire for making anti-alphabet comments. Last year, he had to retract a statement linking the alphabet rights movement with Nazism. While Czarnek may not be media friendly for the West, his move may end up finding popular backing in Poland. In a letter to Poland's Institute of National Remembrance, a body that researches and investigates past crimes against the Polish nation, Czarnek asked it to urgently examine whether Hunka is wanted for crimes against Polish people of Jewish origin, saying that signs of such crimes are grounds to apply to Canada for his extradition. So Canada's Attorney General has not been contacted for any extradition request and said commenting on early stages of an extradition process is not appropriate anyway. So he may have been. What I say to you is that an extradition process is a sensitive matter that ultimately comes across my desk for a final decision. Apropos of that, I can't be commenting on an extradition matter until it actually appears in front of my desk because that would jeopardize the investigation. So yeah, there you go. We saw Trudeau calling it Russian disinformation. These people, these lying liars and the lies they tell. All right. This is the moment of the show where I'm going to once again ask, is there any story that I did not cover that I'm supposed to cover? Type it in the comments. Once again, bonus points if you go to Twitter or X, try to download a copy, download the app. It's easy. And follow us at American_media_. I love your chats however I see them. Oh, it looks like I've been logged out of my chats now on the Restream app. Dreamer Ultra said, me too, Brian, but I don't know what he was referring to. But I assume it was something brilliant that I said. Yeah, I don't know what other stories we should be covering, but I will tell you that we do put them out on X. As things are happening, we try to keep updated. Yeah, I'm very interested in what's happening in Arizona. Very interested. Yeah, cities continuing to fall apart. Could you imagine living in a city? It's just that everything's upside down. It's just upside down. But yeah, okay, here, I'll tweet this. I'll end on this one. This is Rand Paul. Oh, can I share this? Yeah, I can share this. Let me grab the screen share. It's nice when you can see it. Rand Paul, we appreciate you, sir. Let me see if I have to double click it again. To share the screen. Yes, double click needed. Here we go. This is from our Twitter feed, our X feed at American_media_. So, Rand Paul, at Rand Paul says 3 possibilities exist. Number 1, Fauci convinced the CIA to dishonestly obscure the lab origin of COVID. Or 2, the CIA convinced Fauci to obscure the lab origin of COVID. Or 3, an outside entity or person with unlimited monetary resources convinced Fauci to influence the CIA to obscure the lab origin of COVID. One thing is for certain. Fauci did not visit the CIA to seek the truth, but to facilitate and further the cover-up. And it links to the New York Post article. And if this is still here on... Okay, I guess it takes you out of X, out of Twitter. So the House Republicans are saying that Fauci secretly went to the CIA headquarters to influence the COVID-19 origins probe. There you have it. Massive. And the same entities, the same forces, the same system that got us into this mess are going to be continuing to cause problems if we don't correct it. If we can't fix what's going on with the voting systems, one-day voting, in person only, having identification, not just something that says who you are and that you're in the country, something that says you're a legal resident in the country, something that says you're a citizen of the United States. You don't let 10 million people in unless you're trying to flood the elections. Everything needs fixed. And I just ask you on that debate stage, who in the world could you possibly trust? That's not to say anybody named Trump is perfect. But he's got a higher batting average than those other clowns sitting there in the minor leagues. Yeah, maybe Vivek could be good in time. I don't think he's ready. Might be ready. I don't know. He hasn't swung in the big leagues yet. But the others, I mean, they're in the minors for a reason. So we will meet you again covering the news, usually Tuesday, Thursday. Times to be determined. But yes, please follow us all places. Rumble, please sign up for a Rumble account and subscribe to The New American Media. After what YouTube just did to us, you could tell I was fired up the beginning of this show, and I don't know. Part of me is embarrassed when I get so passionate, animated, if you will. But then the other part of me is just like, it is what it is. I'm being honest, and that's how I honestly feel. I feel very abused by the whole situation that's violating my civil rights. There's a very, very limited number of things that have sometimes been able to quash a person's First Amendment rights. The rest of it's just censorship bullshit. So I should be pissed. I know, and I am pissed. But that's why you just got to follow us in all the spots. Twitter, we're at American_media_. Truth Social, The New American Media. We need more subscribers there. So if you're listening and you have a Truth Social, please find us there. Because one day we might just be gone on YouTube. That day could be like right now. Every single second I consider to be borrowed time on this godforsaken app. And all I am is just trying to accurately report what's going on in the world. I am not trying to purposely lie to you about a damned thing. Even when I do my sports shows, I love the Cleveland Browns. I hate the misery they've caused for me my entire life, but that's my team. It doesn't make my love of the Browns right or wrong, but it's honest to who I am. In my interpretation of the news, I connect dots and I research stories and try to give you the most accurate news reporting out there. And if you look at our track record, I mean, let's go through it all. And before you try to poke out my eye, look in the mirror. Oh, trusted sources. Yeah, let's see what your trusted sources were lying to us about with your 51 intelligence officials, lying about president says to drink bleach, lying, saying that he calls Nazis fine people in the fine people hoax, lying about the origins of COVID-19, lying about the efficacy of alternative therapies that could have helped save lives during the coronavirus pandemic, lying about the southern border being secure, lying about what's really going on in Ukraine, lying about fucking everything. Just seems like every damn story. NBC, ABC, CBS, Fox, liars, 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 liars. But then YouTube says, no, these are the people. No, what you're doing is dangerous. Your conversation is dangerous. YouTube removed Russell Brand's ability to make money on YouTube. Convicted of what? Where? It is quicksand, attempting to build a partnership with YouTube. But yet here I look, and there's a lot of you in our YouTube channel right now. And I love you, folks. It's awesome having you. But this is a sinking ship. Please follow us in the other places. That's your homework, should you choose to accept it. Sign up for X, sign up for Rumble. We will try to figure it out. And I say this as the YouTube app froze and gave me the spiral of death there for a while. Wonder if they shut me down in midstream. Never change horses in midstream. What's that from? Question of the day. Never change horses in midstream. It's from a movie and you should watch it. Type in the quote. It's one of the best ever made. But anyway, signing out from the United States of America. I appreciate you. I love you. And we'll talk to you again soon. So take care, everybody. Peace out.